We oftentimes get really afraid when we first start something. Don't get afraid. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be you.
My name is Heidi Vass, and I'm the Tone-Based Voice Content Lead. In this video, we are talking all about warming up from the classical perspective with multiple voice types. On the Tone-Based Voice platform, we're so blessed. We have some of the best singers in the world teaching on that platform. So this video will give you just a little taste of some of the excellent singers and voice teachers that we have. Representing the baritones, we have UC Boulder professor Andrew Garland. Singing with us and representing the tenor voice is Grammy Award winner and LSU professor Paul Groves. And representing the mezzo sopranos, we've got the incomparable Sasha Cooke. And for the soprano voice, it's me, Heidi Vass. For a little bit of a bonus, we thought we'd throw the countertenor perspective your way. And we're going to be featuring John Holiday in this video. If you love what you see on this warm-up and you want to go a little bit more in depth with any one of these fantastic singers or so many more, join us over on the Tone-Based Voice platform.
I'm going to show you a motion that will help you with breath and posture, and it is simply this. While taking in a deep, easy breath, raise your hands over your head as high as you can. And then breathe out. That's all it is. Now, I want to tell you two imperatives that you must do. One is that you reach as high as you can. So, not this, but this. I've reached as high as I can and back down. The other thing is that you keep your breath moving. Let's say you're teaching this and you need to narrate the action while you're talking. Don't do the following. See if you can tell me what I did wrong. All right, I raise my hands all the way up and then back down. What did I do wrong? I trapped my breath rather than keeping it moving as I breathe in. Suspend the breath at the top. That just simply means stop breathing in because you're done breathing in, and then out again. So, with your heels on the floor, reach as high as you can and keep the breath moving. Do not trap the breath. Notice how you're standing when you're done. You know, our choir directors and our teachers talk to us about having your shoulders straight, but not too far back. Your sternum up, but not too far up. Your crown of your head raised. I find your ribs out. I find all of that just happens with that one motion. Breathe in and breathe out, and there you are. In very rare cases, if you find that you or your student is raising your sternum too high or rotating your spine back, I almost never see this, but just in case. So if you end up like this, all right, you can simply raise your arms a little bit forward of your ears. Rather than straight up, just a little bit forward. But again, fortunately, most people don't have that issue. One other thing, if you have limited rotation in your shoulders, there are plenty of other ways to establish your breath and posture. One simple thing is you can step up with your back to a wall, pretend like you're having a height contest with someone. Make your head as high on the wall as you can and just comfortably walk away. You'll find you'll have a similar free posture, a perfect framework for breathing.
So lip trills go brrrr. This is a lip trill. And for a while, I was a horn player and a trombone player for years, so my embouchure was a little too tight. So it's easier to make this if you hold very lightly on each cheek here. And if you hold very lightly, it's easier to make the lip trills, and you can find out how to do it from that. After a while, you get used to doing it, and you don't have to look so silly doing this all the time, or like this. But that's a lip trill. I do easy lip trills for 5 minutes probably. I start very easy, just and then I go up a half step every time. Middle register first, lower register, and then higher register. It gets a little more complicated when you're change registers every once in a while. You can do this however's comfortable for you. But it's very important because you see when you do this, your whole diaphragm has to be engaged. You can't do this from here up. Lip trills are for working all this part, and the vibration in your face also clears out your sinuses, which we need. After that, and for some of these things, it's much easier for a male voice because we can sing falsetto. But after that, I usually do a 2-octave through all of my range. So I start on a low C, and I go all the way to a high C. If I can do this, my voice is usually okay, because as we know for male voices, and falsetto is usually a really good indicator of if you're healthy or if your vocal cords are okay. Because the first thing to go, if you're sick, you're not feeling well, you've oversung, is your falsetto.
This is how I go about getting my voice going in the morning before a rehearsal or before a concert. I love the E vowel. It's one of my most favorite vowels. It's the most far away from laryngeal entanglement. What do I mean by that? So with our articulators, which I would call my nose, my resonance, my tongue, my jaw, they can all have a tendency to get in the way. And usually when we're a younger singer, these guys will show up with tension because we haven't found the body engagement, which we'll later on get. So how do we release these guys? Well, one is by getting out of the way, and E does that so beautifully. E, the tongue is in one of its highest positions, away from the larynx below. So I love to start here and let the E inform the other vowels. So from going from E to A, and letting the two blend until they find one another. But also, I love semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. Why do I like semi-occluded vocal exercises? Can I speak English? Why do I love semi-occluded vocal tract exercises? They sort of create the optimal occlusion of the vocal folds, but also they engage the body. So it's at once warming up the voice and warming up the body. The straw is one of the many ways you can go about doing that. You can also do lip trills, raspberries, certain consonants like V's and B's, but the straw similarly sets you up for optimal occlusion, and the rate of airflow and the speed that's needed to create optimal occlusion comes with this. So I like to merge the two, vowels and semi-occluded. So it's easy to come off, and you'll notice that the straw reveals it. So I'm not distracted by the sound, the vowel, the beauty, the color. I'm listening to the function of the voice, and so the straw tunes you into that. More engaged. Little more engagement. With that, I just added a bit more of my body. I didn't come off as I ascended. I leaned in to the body. So you see, I'm sort of trying to trick the voice, right? I'm paying attention to function, not product. I'm not listening so much. I'm focusing on feeling, and I'm aligning semi-occluded with the vowel. More engagement. A little more engagement. So here we're getting up into the passaggio, right? Passaggio in the mezzo voice as well as the soprano voice brings in that turn that's sort of necessary. What is a turn? What is mixing, as some like to call it? It's simply about adding head resonance as you go into your upper register. So for the female voice, we're going from more of a speech-like approach to a more of a head resonance, which is less like speech. So we're bringing in more of that resonance, and I like to think of it like turning, because the voice is turning, the palate is turning, the air rate of speed is increasing, and that's really what's happening as we go into our passaggio. But I also like to think about the pre-passaggio and the pre-pre-passaggio. So there are all these gradations between the chest to the middle to the upper voice. So it's not like it's 1, 2, 3. It's like 1 to 20 with many, many changes throughout.
I don't think a warm-up is ever complete if I don't say hello to my low range and specifically my chest voice. So one of the things I like to do is take my palms, place them on my sternum and go, and feel that open space. And I'm going to open up into that chest as I go, This is not beautiful singing. We're saying hello to different spaces. And like I like to say a lot of the times to my singers, when you're doing a warm-up or an exercise, it's just that. I don't do a sit-up and try to be beautiful. It's functional. We're just warming up into that chest space. On O. Back up. Now we're going to tie it all together. And our final little bit of the warm-up is just going to be returning to the pattern we started at the beginning with the lip trill, which is just a very basic arpeggio. So hopefully my body has now said hello to the registrations, and it's also maintained that breath to sound connection. And now we're just going to enjoy moving through the space on E to Ah at the top. One thing too, if you notice, if you listen back, I play a lot with modifying my vowels as I go up to the extremities of the range. Whether it's super high or super low, I make adjustments for that. So right now though, we're going to tie it all together with that arpeggio.
Another thing we need to talk about is tongue flexibility. You want to make sure that the tongue remains flexible. Why do we say this? Well, let me tell you why. Did you know that the tongue is the main contributor to what changes the vowels, right? If the tongue is really tight and it's inflexible, your vowels are going to be really janky. So we want to make sure that the vowels are not janky and that they're beautiful like you, right? So always keep a really malleable and easy tongue position, right? The tongue changes. It goes into slope for different positions. It lies flat for others, right? And the other amazing thing about this, it's also one of the things that contributes to the tonation. We call these tuners, right? The tongue, the chin, the jaw, the aperture, or the opening, or the embouchure, right? The different ways to say it. All of this, the inside of the mouth, what you're doing with it, this all contributes to the tonation, the timbre of your sound, right? Okay, let's go back here. This is D flat major. We can keep on going with these, always in thirds. What do you think that helps you to train? What do you hear happening there? I'll give you 10 seconds to tell me what you hear. That's right, you hear leaps. It helps to train the integrity of leaps. Do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, re, do. Yeah? Or in my voice, do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, re, do. Makes me feel like Sound of Music. Do, a dear. I'm sorry. I'm corny like that. I know. Anyway, let's do some more stuff here. It's easy. Let's think about the E vowel. The E vowel, if you ever go to see an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, they always have you sing an E. They hold your tongue like, can you sing E for me? You're like, what? And the E is the thing that brings the chords together the most, right? It's the most closed vowel, that really helps to get the chords coming together so that they can see what's on them if there is something on them, or just to see how healthy they are, right? Because yours are healthy. Let's do this. It's easy. This is do, so, mi, do. All right? It's easy. This is E major, F major. It's easy. Let me do that again because I want to make sure I spin the top note. What do we call the spin in the voice? Vibrato, that's right. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. This is A flat major. It's easy. That might be too much for you right now. We don't want you to go too far. Don't try to hurt yourself trying to be like Mike. I'm just kidding. You think you want to do one more? It's easy. Your B flat. You still there? It's easy. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. It's easy. Oh no. Oh my God. I'm dying over here. No, you're not gonna be dying. You're fine.
Now I should be ready to tackle my repertoire, my rehearsal, my concert, anything. Or if I want to move on and get a nice little workout in, I'm going to add some additional exercises there that train specific concepts in vocal technique. No matter what direction you're going today, that warm-up should have been enough to get all of those juices flowing, literally to warm up the muscles, and also to get your technical brain turned on.